Why is the Earth round, no matter what? The ancient question beneath the stars. Once upon a time, before rockets touched the moon, before satellites blinked over our skies, before even compasses whispered secrets to sailors, the people of Earth stood beneath the heavens and asked the same timeless question. What shape is the world beneath our feet? It was not a question of science back then. It was a question of myth, of mystery, and of meaning. Some believed the Earth was a flat disk resting on the back of a giant turtle. Others said it floated in a sea of darkness, held steady by divine hands. Still others imagined we lived beneath a dome of stars like ants inside a snow globe. And yet, even in those ancient days, curiosity burned brighter than fear. Let us journey to the 6th century BCE, to the golden shores of Greece, where a philosopher named Pythagoras gazed at the moon and saw something extraordinary, a sphere. Pythagoras realized the moon cast shadows, round shadows as it passed through phases, and he dared to wonder. Could the Earth be round too? Centuries passed, minds ignited, questions spread like wildfire across continents. One day, a man named Eratosthenes, living in Egypt in the 3rd century BCE, noticed something strange. At noon on the summer solstice in a city called Syene, the sun shone directly overhead. No shadow was cast by a stick in the ground. But in Alexandria, at noon of the summer solstice, far to the north, with the sun shining directly overhead, the same stick did cast a shadow. Most would ignore this detail. But Eratosthenes saw the blueprint of the world. He measured the length of the shadow. He calculated the angle of the sunlight. He knew the distance between the two cities. And with nothing more than sticks, shadows, and a burning mind, he calculated the circumference of the Earth with astonishing precision. Not magic. Not guesswork. Geometry. The world was not flat. The world was a great, majestic sphere spinning silently through the cosmos. But not everyone would believe this. As the centuries rolled on, empires rose and fell. Knowledge was lost, found, burned, and rewritten. Sailors feared sailing too far, terrified they would fall off the edge. But the truth never vanished. It simply waited, buried beneath myths and shadows. Until the age of discovery. And that, brave reader, is where our story truly begins. The voyage that challenged the horizon. The year is 1519. The sails of a grand fleet billow in the wind, catching the breath of destiny itself. 5 ships braving the unknown oceans leave the shores of Spain under the command of a man named Ferdinand Magellan. His mission is monumental, unthinkable to many, to reach the Spice Islands by sailing westward, not east. Some called him a fool, others a visionary, but none could deny the daring of what he attempted. What Magellan did not know was that his journey would become something far greater than a race for riches. It would become one of the greatest proofs that Earth is round. Across towering waves and treacherous storms, past uncharted lands and seas filled with whispers of monsters, the fleet sailed on. Months turned into years. Food ran low. Ships were lost, men died. Yet the voyage continued, a testament to human perseverance, and then it happened. After crossing the vast Pacific Ocean and reaching the distant islands of the east, Magellan's remaining crew sailed ever onward, navigating back to the lands they once left behind, this time from the opposite direction. When the last surviving ship, the Victoria, limped back into port in 1522, it had completed something that had never been done before. The first circumnavigation of the Earth. They had gone west and returned from the east. Had the world been flat, they would have vanished into nothingness, but they returned. They had sailed around the globe, and in doing so, they stitched a seam through the myth of a flat Earth, sealing it shut with salt, sweat, and the cries of seagulls. The implications were enormous. Mapmakers redrew the world. Scholars reimagined the heavens. Kingdoms now looked beyond their borders with hungry eyes, knowing that Earth was not an endless plain. but a boundless sphere spinning like a pearl in the vast velvet of space. But the story doesn't end there. Because even with sailors' logs, stars overhead, and the round shadow Earth cast during lunar eclipses, some still doubted. The human mind, glorious and stubborn, wanted more. It wanted proof that could not be denied. Proof carved in stone, or better yet, captured in the skies. And that proof would come. Centuries later, with fire in our engines and wonder in our eyes, we would rise beyond the clouds and for the first time, see our world not from maps or guesses, but from above. When we finally look back, it was the 20th century. The age of rockets. The age of radio signals crossing oceans and machines dreaming in binary. Humanity, once bound to the soil, was now building wings of fire. And then in 1961, a man named Yuri Gagarin soared into the heavens, circling the Earth like a comet wearing a suit of steel. From the porthole of Vostok 1, he didn't see edges. He didn't see corners. He saw something profound. I see the Earth. It is beautiful. That beauty was not a square, not a plate, not a dome. It was a sphere, a soft blue marble floating in the ink of space, wrapped in white clouds and glowing with life. And yet it wasn't until 1968 that the world truly saw it. Aboard Apollo 8, 3 astronauts orbited the moon, and as they emerged from the dark side, they turned back and saw Earth rise above the lunar surface. They took a photo that would change humanity forever. Earthrise. There it was. Our home. Suspended. Round. Fragile. No longer was it a question for philosophers or mathematicians or sailors. There it was, with no tricks, no illusions. The Earth, undeniably round, floating in the silence of eternity. The image rippled across the globe, printed in newspapers, shown on televisions, etched into the hearts of billions. The arguments ended. The myths dissolved. The story that began with shadows and questions had reached a breathtaking climax. We had looked back and seen ourselves. But why is the Earth round? Now that we had seen it with our own eyes, the next question echoed louder. What forces shape this perfect sphere? To understand that, we must go deeper, not into the oceans, not into the jungles, but into the very fabric of nature. The great sculptor, gravity's invisible hand. Imagine the Earth long, long ago, when it was not yet Earth at all. Just a swirling cloud of dust and gas, drifting through the young solar system like cosmic smoke. There were no oceans, no mountains, no sky, just chaos. And then something ancient and silent began to act. Gravity. Invisible, relentless, eternal. It pulled the particles together, grain by grain, spark by spark. Little pieces collided, stuck, fused. Small rocks became big rocks. Big rocks drew in more. And soon all of that swirling dust formed something massive enough to bend space itself. The pressure in the center grew until it melted the inside. The Earth became a fiery sphere of liquid rock, churning and spinning in the newborn cosmos. And here's the magic. Gravity pulls evenly from all directions. So, what shape does matter take when it's pulled in from all sides equally? A sphere. Not a cube, not a pyramid, not a pancake. A sphere is the only shape where every point on the surface is the same distance from the center. And when a planet becomes massive enough, gravity demands that it take this perfect, balanced form. Even mountains, no matter how high, are tiny wrinkles compared to the size of the Earth. The planet is so massive that it smooths itself out, reshaping over time through volcanic flows, tectonic shifts, and erosion, all ruled by that same quiet architect, gravity. But the Earth isn't a perfect sphere. No, even nature has its fingerprints. Because of its spin, Earth bulges slightly at the equator and flattens just a bit at the poles. This shape is called an oblate spheroid. Like a ball pressed gently at the top and bottom, still round, still complete, but uniquely Earth. So the answer is no longer a mystery. The Earth is round because the laws of physics, the very fabric of the universe, make it so. From dust to sphere, from chaos to home. But what does it mean now that we know? What does it mean to live on this blue, spinning orb among the stars? That answer awaits in the final chapter. Our round, spinning home. So here we are, sailing through the vast, silent ocean of space aboard a perfect, fragile sphere called Earth. Knowing that our planet is round isn't just about science or maps or physics, it's about perspective. Because when we understand that Earth is a sphere, something powerful happens. We realize that there are no edges, no true ends of the world. All points connect. All people share the same surface. You can walk in any direction, and if you go far enough, you'll come back to where you began. The roundness of Earth teaches us something deeply human. We are all on this journey together. The Earth turns beneath our feet, slowly and steadily, spinning at over 1,600 kilometers per hour at the equator, dancing with the moon, circling the sun. Day becomes night, seasons shift, tides rise and fall, all because of the Earth's majestic spherical shape and motion. In 2025, we have satellites orbiting this round planet, capturing real-time images that show the curve of continents, the swirl of hurricanes, the blue of oceans that stretch without end. We launch rockets into space, and every time we do, we leave behind the shape of our home, a glowing round miracle in the infinite dark. And yet, with all this knowledge, with all the data, photos, calculations, and explorations, the wonder has not faded. In fact, it's grown. Because to know that we live on a round planet is to know that we live in a universe of design, of force, of beauty. It reminds us how small we are, and yet how powerful our curiosity has become. From the shadows of a stick in the sand to the edge of space itself, we have followed the clues, connected the stars, and discovered something timeless. So the next time you look out at the horizon and see the gentle curve of sky meeting sea, or when you watch the sun rise not over a flat edge, but from beneath the bend of the Earth, remember this: the Earth is round because the universe is written in curves, because gravity, time, and creation demand it, because we are meant to move, to circle, to explore, and because in this vast cosmos, a round planet spinning through light and shadow is the perfect place to call home.